Hey everybody, welcome back to another 10-minute Marvel video. I'm Petter, and today we're covering one of the news stories we had yesterday. The rumor comes from a Marvel Leaks 22 at Marvel Leaks 22. I'm not sure if it was Instagram or Twitter. I grabbed it from Marvel Updates on Facebook, and this rumor is that America Chavez is going to be in multiple projects for Phase 6. Now, we haven't seen America Chavez since, well, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Last time we saw her, she was in Carmitage, and she was studying magic. So, it begs the question, where could America Chavez show up next? And this rumor specifically says a Phase 6 show and a Phase 6 movie. So let's talk about what that could mean. What shows and movies make sense? And we're going to kick it off here with movies, because movies is by far the easiest one. The answer for what movie could she appear in? Doomsday, Secret Wars, Doctor Strange 3. I think all of those are potential options, especially if with dealing with incursions in Doctor Strange 3, maybe her ability to travel between universes can come into play, and they can treat that as a way that people can travel between universes safely. I think that could be an interesting element for the story, which really you could pull that into Doomsday as well, because I expect that's going to be a multi-universal story. For Secret Wars, I joked in the podcast that I was cast for Secret Wars because every character can potentially show up in Secret Wars, and I expect a lot of them too, and I expect a lot of kind of random characters who maybe we forgot about to show up again in Secret Wars as a variant version or something like that, or multiple versions of a same character. The example would be like Nomad and Captain America, both played by Chris Evans. Hydra, Cap too. So a lot of different things could make sense there, and having America Chavez there, sure, that makes sense. So I think there are really three very strong movies that she could show up in, but what about a show? Especially, we're talking a Phase 6 show. So we look at the timeline for movies coming out, and for Phase 6, it looks like Phase 6 is maybe going to be a 4-movie phase? 5-movie phase, I should say. With Fantastic Four, First Steps, Spider-Man, Brand New Day. Oh, yes, it is. Avengers, Doomsday, Unknown Film, which I suspect is going to be Doctor Strange 3, and then Avengers, Secret Wars. So that just takes us through the end of 2027. December of 2027 is when Secret Wars is going to come out. What shows are already on the docket is probably the spot you have to start for where America Chavez could show up. And we haven't heard any rumors that she's going to be in Daredevil Born Again Season 2. It's possible that we get a Season 3 if the show continues to have solid viewership numbers. That'd be an interesting spot, but I don't know that that's a spot that makes a ton of sense. There have also been rumors about shows like The Champions. Now, The Champions, I think, makes a whole lot more sense. That was actually not kind of the ensemble show that I would like to see her in. It makes sense because it's a lot of young heroes. So bring a young hero into the Champions team in America Chavez could create some interesting things. You could even have some kicking through to other universes, as part of that show. But I like the idea, if you're going to do an ensemble show, to do a Strange Academy. she's currently in Camartage. So if she's in Camartage, she's learning magic. We see that she is learning magic. Send her to a magical school. And I think that would be interesting. Something that Doctor Strange creates or had like already in the works. Understanding that maybe Camartage is a bit more of a big deal. Like when you level up and become a full-fledged sorcerer, not just a sorcerer in training, you go there to learn additional techniques and arts of magic. But you could have the Strange Academy be a spot where people who are looking to learn about magic go. And in the comics, you have a pretty wide variety of characters there. Zelma Stanton from Ironheart is actually one of the teachers there. So I think having someone like America Chavez go there, Ned Leeds, actually could be pretty awesome to go there as well. Just these different characters, or Asgardians too, like some Asgardian kids, I think would be great as well. That would tie in a lot to what you see in the Strange Academy comic. So I really like that idea, but that show doesn't exist yet. If we go with another show that does exist, going back to that kind of initial premise, it would have to be something like Vision Quest. And now why would she want to show up in a Vision show, especially since the Vision show seems to be a little bit more technologically focused? So if that's the case, if it's dealing with all these different AIs, where does she fit in? And this is where I think you could say, well, maybe they do a Scarlet Witch movie, or they do a Scarlet Witch show, and she is brought in with her ability to kind of kick through realities, to go through realities, to go and search out another Scarlet Witch, or to figure out where the soul of the Scarlet Witch resides, I guess. So I think that that could make sense. But if they do Scarlet Witch, I want it to be a movie. I don't want it to be a show. I think you could say from the events of WandaVision, where that kind of ended, and then Scarlet Witch's situation in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, then with the separate group of Agatha and Billy, and then if we have at the end of Vision Quest, we have Vision, maybe Val, Viv, not Val, Viv, and Tommy on another side of things. I think that you could have this thing that brings them all together, this understanding connection that maybe the Scarlet Witch is still out there, and now they have to go track her down to actually bring the family together that we saw in Westview. I think that sounds like a really interesting storyline and plot, though from my understanding, this is just supposed to be 3. So if it's just supposed to be 3, do we maybe rush through some of the AI stuff and end this Vision show with America Chavez, them tracking down America Chavez to get help to get the Scarlet Witch back? That there's an understanding that the Scarlet Witch is out there somewhere, soul trapped by Chthon or Mephisto or somebody like that, and they go with it from there. But those are, I mean, that's really the ideas I have for how they could do a show with her in it. I think the most likely definitely is the Champions. That's the one that they seem to be working on. But there was the mention of Strange Academy too. And I do think she fits better in a Strange Academy sort of role. But let me know your thoughts. Is there a show that she could fit in? Maybe if they gave one a second season, like a Hawkeye or a Moon Knight, does she fit in there? Drop your thoughts on that down in the comment section below. And if you enjoy this content, please check out the other videos here on the channel and give this video a thumbs up. We actually talk about this on the podcast, this episode this week, where America Chavez could make sense. So if you want to check that out, you can find the podcast here on YouTube. Click onto the channel, subscribe, and click that notification bell if you haven't already. We appreciate everybody who has and everybody who's checking out these videos. And then click on the podcast tab. Or you can search for 10 Minute Marvel wherever you get your friendly neighborhood podcast from. But with that, we will see you next time.